Hello, Toastmasters friends in Italy. Hello, Diane. Ciao, Diane. And ciao,
Panos.
Orlando.
Ciao, ciao, tutto bene?
Ciao Panos.
We're going
So
to
how
surprise you with
how
some
are you?
Italian.
How are you tonight?
Doing well, thanks. And how about you, Panos?
Doing great, and I am so enthusiastic about the opportunity to get to talk to you because we have so much in common. We have had so much in common through the ages, and the three of us have so much in common today that I can't wait to discover more and to hear you describe that in your own words. But first, I would love to know, and I believe also our listener would love to know, where you're tuning in from and perhaps the club you represent, which could also be plural, clubs you represent. So, in the order that you appear on my screen, Diane.
Yes, Diane Fryman, not an Italian name for sure. I'm coming in tonight from Milan, Italy, and I'm the founder of the first club in Italy since 1991. It was the Milanese Club, and I've participated most recently in the Navigli Club, which I'm also a founder for, and that is also in Milano.
Fantastic. So
Mhm.
you've been a Toastmaster since 1991, Diane? Did I hear this right?
Actually, since 1986, because I started in Chicago when I lived and was working with Accenture at the central training facility there. So that dates me just a wee bit, Panos. I think the two of you, I were just a twinkle in your parents' eyes at that point of
I,
time.
I understand that you joined Toastmasters at the tender age of 3. So
That's right. I was only 3 years old. Correct.
exactly.
You're very quick at calculating.
I got that. Yeah. Orlando, where are you tuning in from?
Well,
Milanese, we love you, Diane. And Orlando, we want to love you too. So
of
floor
course,
yours.
thank you so much. Well, Panos, I'm from Turin right now. Right here,
Mhm.
it's yes, I'm in front of Mirafiori, of course, in the Fiat factory. But I'm from, of course, Selenu is not a completely Italian surname; it's a Sardinian surname. So I'm from an island, uh, beautiful island, of course, and I moved here about 10 years ago. After that, I
Mhm.
spent another dozen years in Tuscany for studying and working reason. And then I came here. And then one day, my brother called me and said, well, I went to a nice thing in Milan. This was this great conference, and I think you should try. I've seen that in Turin that they're also
Mhm.
making something like that. And so in 2013, so a couple of years later than Diane, of course, with my own time. I'm slow. I'm learning. So, but I joined Toastmaster about 9 years ago, and my life has changed. Of course, that's it.
It's a game changer.
It's a game. Can it continue being a game changer when you are a member for 10 years or more? I would like to know what you get. Let's get a bit personal now, all right? Because here in the south, we break the ice very, very fast with each other. So after 10 years or more, we don't want to say how many this more might be. After 10 years or more, what are you getting out of it so you can be giving back, of course? Now,
Right.
Diane.
Well, I think, things are always in changing and there's so much to learn. And especially with new technology and using platforms like this one, doing communication online, doing video communication, all these things, and working with others, it's a never ending process of meeting new
Mm,
people and networking. And so it's the sort of thing that never gets old. And I think introducing
mm,
talent, I've had the great pleasure of working with such talented people in Toastmasters and introducing talent into the network of leaders like
mm,
Turan Tanin, who's been an incredible contribution to the this district, especially. But I think that it's a never-ending process. It's the sort of thing that you just cannot ever finish. If learning is something that you can do in a lifelong way. And I think
Mhm.
Toastmasters provides that opportunity to everybody. So if one wants
Mhm.
to, then one can constantly learn new things. And I found for myself also, besides the issue related to people, that
Mhm.
especially integrating technology and communication over technology is such an important aspect, especially for my work, the work that I do with companies and
Mhm.
so on. But anyway, what about
Mhm.
Orlando? I don't know.
So I
Well,
understand listening to you, Diane, that you're learning new tools other than the ones that you already have built a sizable expertise in, I am sure, and you have found joy and I understand a sense of purpose as well in developing new talent into new leaders, and this way you are giving back to all of us, to all Toastmasters, but at the same time, you've come to the realization that this is a lifelong process. It's never ending.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Never ending.
you can keep refining your approach,
Sure.
right? You can keep
Absolutely.
refining your approach as you go.
we
Interesting
always
Absolutely.
say
perspective.
that in Toastmaster,
Orlando.
a Toastmaster wears many hats, but I think that
Uh-huh.
maybe he wears them for a different reason. Maybe the reasons that I had 10 years ago, 5 years ago, well, are not
Uh-huh.
the same. And maybe we are not, I am not aligned anymore with those values. Maybe I
Uh-huh.
have different goals and ambitions. Why not?
Mhm.
I have a daughter right now. She's 9 months old. Well, I didn't have 10 years ago, of course. So I had a lot of more free time, of course.
Mhm.
It's ça va sans dire. But of course, now I'm trying to do different things. In my Toastmaster life, let's call it in this way, I had the chance to be a president a couple of times,
Mhm.
and of course also, well, I had every role in the officers, in the club, in the area, and I think that. Well, I told this thing many times, but so maybe I'm repeating myself. But when you do a role for the first time,
Mhm.
well, you try to you actually learn it by the end of it. So,
Mhm.
well, okay, now I get it, and you are concluding your time. So actually, it helps to do it twice, maybe also three times, something like that. In the meanwhile, I would like to say hello to everyone who is watching us, like Lydian and others.
Yes. Hello. We've gotten lots of interesting message coming from all over the District
This
109. So
this would be a
hello to
perfect.
everybody.
This would be a perfect moment to say that we have greetings from Lino and Toastmasters Rimini, and we have a message from our district director Lilian Shaftakola. She's very happy to be watching us. We have hello from Switzerland, our friend Sabine Schmelzer. Lisa Marie, hello from Bologna. Look at that. Look at that. And Laura, of course, Laura, who agrees with Orlando that life changes and we change with Toastmasters. And it's this with Toastmasters that is important. I find it inspiring that you had a daughter, Orlando, 9 years ago, but you still kept your commitment to
Mums,
Toastmasters. 9 months?
9 months.
Okay, 9 months.
Yes.
Okay.
I found it quite challenging. Instead, when I launched Milanese back in '91, but we became a formal chapter, actually, club in '93. That when I started having my children, because we had the meetings at night, to be honest, I couldn't be active for a while. And then I started keeping up with the group because it was in the evening, and I had a couple of the Toastmasters and the Milanese. They were saying, come on back, come on, your kids are old enough now. You can come in and find a babysitter and that sort of thing, and joined again, and then started to become active to contribute to the club again. And I think that each time that you go to a new club and then you're a founder and you're assisting and bringing in talent into the club, that makes all the difference.
It does. It does. And you don't have to do a lot, but if you do it consistently, you can see the results of your consistent contributions. I've seen that. I see you nodding, so I think that's a remark that you both agree with from experience.
For
Now
sure.
there's there's an angle that I want to invite you, both of you, to look at Toastmasters from. So Italy is one of the places that can make a claim to have had a lot to do with rhetoric and the evolution of rhetoric as a
Ah,
skill and perhaps a form of
Cicerone.
science. At the same time, Italy is one of the birthplaces of philosophy and the knowledge of self-knowledge, which, in my experience, Toastmasters offers, but it's one of those lesser-known benefits in our
Yeah.
Toastmasters experience. So I would like to hear from you from a more philosophical perspective, combining your personal values, as we heard from Orlando. How has Toastmasters transformed you? Has it increased has it enhanced the way you view the world rather than building skills? Has it transformed you at a personal level? And again, we're getting more personal as we go. Diane.
Sure, know thyself. I mean, I'm an organizational psychologist, so this is the basis of the work that I do with all of our clients. And I can say that when I began, because I actually very admittedly started working with doing Toastmasters out of an interest of being a trainer. And I can say that it's been a constant and a continuous learning cycle because when I started working with Toastmasters outside of Chicago in '86, because my company wasn't going to give me the training to learn how to become a trainer, I was the designer of training. And so I can say that every club that I went to, because then I worked in Australia with Accenture at that time, and also in different parts of the city, and also of the country, I should say, in Melbourne and in Sydney, but also in Singapore. So I had the chance to work with Toastmasters in all these international locations, getting to know people and adapting to different cultures. It's a constant of learning about oneself, testing our limits. That's what we get to do in Toastmasters, isn't it? We get to test all of our limits and we get to put ourselves out there. And where else can you have a stage like that where you can play out your knowledge of yourself better than through Toastmasters?
Wow, Diane, it sounds like you've had the chance to test yourself or to put yourself to the test in a number of playgrounds around the globe, and you're still doing it. Congratulations.
Absolutely.
So
Especially
testing.
when I came to Italy, there was no Toastmasters. So I met up with a couple of important Toastmasters who've been involved in the organization for a long time, and I think that it's been an amazing journey to see the growth of Toastmasters since '91. I mean, now we have 30 clubs, at least 30 clubs, more or less. I see Orlando testing his knowledge, and but at the time, I mean, until the birth of the internet, I mean, because when we launched it back before the internet, I mean, it wasn't easy for people to get to know what is Toastmasters. So we launched through the American Chamber of Commerce, and that was a fantastic way to get our pillars leaders like Giancarlo Ghiglia, who is unfortunately no longer with us, and I mean with us in the world, because yes, exactly, and Francesco Campironi, and then it was not until later on that very important and individuals like Ivan Ottaviani, who was so involved in starting at least 4 or 5 different clubs. When I think of after Milanese, also the Explorers, Monza, Navigli District, and then the list goes on. I mean, he was an important facilitator of the growth of Toastmasters in Italy.
Diane, it's inspiring to see that you've been so involved in this with your entire being, as I hear you describe, that your personal transformation that we started discussing is merged with the transformation of Toastmasters Italy as a whole. So let's get back discussing the community after we give Orlando the chance to tell us about his personal transformation through his Toastmasters journey. Orlando.
Well, it's a complex question. I don't want to give a complex answer. I'll try to make it simple, but not simpler. So I'm an introvert, computer scientist. I spend all day in front of a computer and I don't suffer any consequences. apparently. But at the same time, I love to share a laugh with someone else. So this was my first reason to join Toastmaster Club many years ago, to improve my impromptu skills, let's say. A couple of years ago, maybe it was 4 or 5 years ago, I wrote a column for the TM Club session about the 2 columns of rhetoric, and of course Italy and Greece are the 2 columns of rhetoric. But in my opinion, when I was trying to, and I'm still trying to promote Toastmaster in Italy, in Piedmont, my area, let's call it, this could be a leverage, and this could be a stop, because many people say, I can speak already, so I don't need it. I don't care. Come on, what does it take? And then okay, because 101 they are something that they can do usually, because of course they are in some frame already defined, and so okay, I'm a business director or something. I talk with my people, and yeah, right. So they don't have much to push their comfort zone, not many times. But then sometimes it really struck when people understand that they could use this platform as a leverage to understand. Sometimes someone called it a training room, a gym. I prefer, maybe because I'm a bit of a scientist, like a laboratory, because actually you're not just exercising something, you are trying to fit these instruments, these tools with your own personality. So they have to fit. And maybe you have some, from a philosophical point of view, maybe you have some directions, some guidelines by the manuals, the pathways, but then you have to check against yourself, because it's up to you to reflect on them and use them. And maybe just because I'm slow, maybe the first time is not the best one. Maybe you have to repeat it. Maybe you have to find a different angle, different perspective to cover and to, yes, now I get it. Now I grasp this. Oh, how to, for example, for me, the hard stuff is how elicit or how to create emotions in my audience. Okay, this is a huge topic for me. How to create emotions in the people that are listening to me. I'm learning, of course. I'm trying to do my best to it, but it takes time. I'm not in a hurry, and I want to learn. That's it. I'm not Orlando the Furious. I'm Orlando the Curious, and I'm curious about learning. So
I love the attitude. Orlando the Furious, Orlando the Curious, Orlando
so
the
the question is very wide, very broad, but of course, this is my point of view. Thank you.
And as I hear you describe Toastmasters as a lab, then that is the perfect place to experiment. So you can pick different reactive substances and mix them together, and see if through your words you can make your listeners have an emotional reaction. Right? It's all hard physics.
Absolutely. Orlando. Sometimes you see someone, you listen to someone, and maybe for bad habit, you put this one in some shelf. You categorize. Oh, this is a good speaker, bad speaker. Maybe you are asking to this one a bad goal. Maybe you are asking a bad strategy. Maybe so. You have to work with people, and you have to understand how they're thinking and why they're thinking their way. And so it's a long process. From a club officer point of view, but also from a member point of view, because you want to help your brothers. or
I
sisters, of
understand
course.
that. As I understand that, I hear you, Orlando. Yeah, there's no good or bad speakers. There's appealing
Absolutely.
speeches and less appealing speeches. But good or bad sounds like a kind of superficial criteria. Yeah, but when a speaker discovers themselves through the process of testing, right, Diane, then they can
Absolutely.
arrive at something that
Absolutely.
resonates more with their listener.
And it's
Talking
pretty,
about
sorry, just to conclude, and I'm stopping,
absolutely,
but just
absolutely.
to underline this point is that last week we had club contest, and I was a chief judge, and we had some external judges from a club in Cologne, in Germany, and it was nice from my point of view, from a scientist point of view, is that for the judges from our club gave a kind of ranking, and these other gentlemen from another club, they gave both another kind of view. So it was nice to see that, of course, from where you're standing, the conclusion can vary a lot, and that's it. Sorry.
Absolutely. And if Toastmasters doesn't teach us perspective on speaking, I don't know what other activity does. And talking about perspective, I want you guys to put Toastmasters into perspective for me and everyone listening. I heard before that there are 30 clubs. Orlando, do you scientifically approve of this?
Well,
This
it's
number?
a number in between 27 and 32, because some are sleeping. Because
28
sometimes,
plus minus 4, 28 plus,
okay.
30
But
plus minus 2, something like that.
Something like that.
I'll let you guys tell me a couple of highlights from the history of Toastmasters. At least they don't have to be the most important historically, as long as they are important to you and you tell us why. Diane, how about a couple of highlights from the history of Toastmasters in Italy for Diane?
Well, clearly, I mean, the launch of the whole thing in 91, and then when things started to take off, we formalized the club in 93. But to be honest, it was a dormant club for a long time before we could get active marketing on the internet. And then things started to really boom after the birth of the internet. So we're talking about after 2000 also, because the internet started in 95. But actually the club started to take a large audience and started to grow. So the Millennials Club was then divided into two, and this is when Ivan Ottaviani was the president, and it became the split between the explorers, and then Giancarlo Ghiglia, who came in as a talent at the time that we launched the club, and he was the president after I was. He actually helped to get the thing started in Rome, and then once Rome started, then a number of clubs started to grow out of that, and then the two largest cities in Italy are Milan and Rome, and of course Turin after. So Turin took on some speed, and Orlando found out from his brother who was in Milan about what was going on. But then you guys started the clubs in Turin. But I don't know if it started before Orlando, if it started before, or if you were actually the founder of the first club in Turin.
I was not the founder of the first club in Turin, but I was the co-founder of everyone else in Turin. So, so the Toastmaster Torino Club was actually founded by Federico Pisanu, and he went a lot of times to Milan. And so, as I said before, I said it several times, I think that all the Toastmaster Club in Turin, in Italy, actually, are shaped by the Milanese way of working, of doing Toastmastering, way of Toastmastering. So the Toastmaster Club in Torino was, let's say, shaped by Milanese, of course, and also the Radiant Rhetoric, and also the corporate club in Turin actually are shaped by that idea. So from 2012, the year of chartering Toastmaster Torino, to 2014, 14, 16. I'm not I don't remember the foundation of Writing and Rhetoric. Anyway, we spent of course, a couple of years trying to, because of course the Toastmaster Torino was in Italian mainly. Well, 95% of the speeches were in Italian, and we decided we would like to give another direction, and so we believe that English language, but also French language, was a way to go. And so we decided to found this club with a different language, different ideas, different soul, let's say, a different mood. And then also the other clubs, because then they came the corporate clubs in Turin. I know very well the Piedmontese history, so I'm telling you that. But of course, not just the Piedmontese club are important for me. Also, for example, Toastmaster Roma is very, very important. I've met Francesco Fedele, Silvio Rossi, and someone else in my first conference that I...
Yes, Francesco was an incredible force in terms of development for the Rome clubs. And I remember going down to visit with Francesco and some of the people in that club before the other clubs within also the government agencies like ENIL and so on started. And because there are several clubs that are more corporate, shall we say. Even though corporate clubs, though, besides the government clubs, haven't always been easy to start in Italy, and there's a reason for that, but I don't know if we want to get into it, that I could give you some insight into. But I think keeping the clubs going, and it's been just an amazing growth for the last 15 years, really, and just wonderful to watch and so exciting to see.
And Milanese was the big bang, and then this grew, and one became two, and then I guess it's true that all roads lead to Rome. That on the way to Rome, we can take a detour up all the way to Turin in a way, and before you know it, you have 30 clubs plus minus 2, as we agreed, and all of them are labs. All of them are laboratories. You get in, people walking through the door, not really knowing what they're walking into, but by the time they walk out, they know that they've had an experience. Yeah,
absolutely. I think that both of you know Turan Tanin.
Yes, of course.
Yes, of course.
Hello,
so
Turan.
I had to convince Turan. I had to pull him to a meeting. And this is when we were at where were we at Deloitte before we were able to launch the Navigli Club District, and he was very skeptical, and finally he came, and then he came back again. And of course, who's more zealot about Toastmasters than Turan Tanin? I mean, he was an incredible force for the Navigli Club, and then through the ladder, climbing the ladder in terms of the organization through the districts and so on. So just as you said, not knowing necessarily, because he didn't understand why I understood. For me, it was like I knew that this was such an important force for his life when I invited him to the club, and he finally listened. So, and then of course it was a history after that.
Turan, you finally listened. Look at that. Look at that.
He will admit the same thing. He tells people all the time the story.
That's beautiful. It's a beautiful story. You know, some of the
when the student is ready, the master appears.
Excellent point. And you see, there you have it, the philosophy. But sometimes some of our best life stories, I realize, are when we look back and we think, how would my life be if I had not made that choice back then? How would my life have turned out as a result of not making this choice? And I'm glad that he did, and I'm glad that both of you did. Now, there's another thing I want to know, and it has a lot to do about Italy. And this is a tricky question. Now, Toastmasters is based in the US, and with it comes a lot of the processes, a lot of the language that we use, and a lot of the attitude that we are, let's say, using as a tool to do what we love to do. But Italy has such gravitas as a culture. So I wonder, in your Toastmasters experience, what is it that Italy or Italian culture has gifted Toastmasters with? What has Italy contributed to Toastmasters that was perhaps unexpected and makes Toastmasters Italy unique, as I understand it to be through talking to you? Now let's go with Orlando, and we'll let Diane have the last word on this.
Thank you. Okay, another interesting question. I always said that Italy needed Toastmasters and Toastmaster needed Italy because it's, love is a game of give and take, of course. So you cannot be it's only one way. But I think that, for the people attending the Toastmaster Club and following, let's say, the guidelines, Toastmaster gives directions, gives some proven points, gives some something to try that was proved by a lot of people. I'd say in at least 95 years of history. But then, of course, Italians want to do their own way, and they have some, of course, gestures and sometimes powerful voices and such, but just not like that. They want to play hard, but also work hard. So there are many different faces in. Thank you, Facebook user. So there are many components, of course. From my experience, from what I've seen to happening to my friends in this master, they became more self-aware, and it's a huge thing if you think about self-actualization and self-awareness, and more, proud of their achievement. I did this, and I'm proud of it. Maybe it's a small thing, but I did it all by myself. And so there are many things, from the small things to the big things. Of course, I remember when, for example, the first DTMs in Italy, just like, for example, Francesco Fedele and Ivan came into. It was such a great event in Toastmaster, but I knew, and I think everyone that was present knew that. Hello, Federica.
Yes, you made it. Hello, Federica.
Hello, Federica.
Okay, goodbye, Federica.
Goodbye, Federica.
And we knew that they actually succeeded and in their path because wow, they put some huge efforts, and some they were smart people, and they actually okay, I'm sorry, I forget the English word, but anyway, they did it because they could do it, and they were the most passionate guys at the time. So
if I could just pick up on the question,
sure,
and then of course Federica's here, we'll bring her in. But I think, when we first introduced Toastmasters with all the rules that we have and so on, Italians are fantastic, creative people, and don't always like, except for engineers like Orlando, people that are more like systematic and thinking. So I think, to answer your question, that the methodology that and the approach that Toastmasters brings, I think that Italians bring in and can adapt and apply all that methodology, but bringing in the pathos, which is probably the word that you would like, and so the pathos and the emotion, and in using the benefit of the structure and the proven methods, but then taking in the connection with people and emotions and the communication that's already natural for them, and also the friendships and so on that people find through Toastmasters in Italy. So I can say that the enrichment, on both sides, it wasn't always easy introducing the methodology, because methodology and methods aren't always that structured approach isn't always welcomed by those creative types, but they certainly have taken it on and added the pathos and creativity and the friendship, which I think that you can't deny, which has been an important ingredient for the growth of Toastmasters in Italy.
So I hear that Toastmasters Italy has succeeded in taking a tried and tested recipe and added in the Italian heart, the Italian passion. And as we see in the chat, this idea, what you're describing, resonates with a large number.
Lino.
Yeah, especially
For
Lino,
sure.
who says Italians just do it better. And I understand now that this means they bring their whole heart to it.
Yes.
Now that we have the chance to also have Federica with us, it's such a great opportunity to get to hear from you, Federica. Now,
Good evening. I'm sorry, I wasn't really able to connect in any way with my phone. Now I changed phone and suddenly the miracle.
Well, things happen for a reason, and we would love to know. I would love to know your reason for making Toastmasters happen over where you are. Tell us where you are, which club you represent.
So I am president of Toastmaster Two Towers Bologna, and I have been a member since 2018, very beginning of 2018.
Fantastic.
Quite a few years, yeah. And I have been mainly VPE and now president. And so I have not a long experience, but I did also some very nice projects for other clubs. And so, yeah.
Federica, we have put together a small Toastmasters lab here together with Diane and Orlando, and we found some ingredients. And by the end of our discussion, which is coming up soon, we're going to put everything together and see how potent this mixer is. All right, is it potent enough to create Toastmasters Italy spirit all around the world? Let's wait and see. So one ingredient is the tried and tested recipe for Toastmasters. The other is the Italian passion. Now, what would be the spice? What would be the secret ingredient in this mix? Can you enlighten us?
Actually, I think that the aim of all the Toastmasters Club that I also could visit now that we have COVID and we can really have online meetings and you can see all of Italy, which is very nice. Actually, I see that many of the club always respect the Toastmasters layout with high fidelity, and I think this is very good because it gives you the strength of the association and of the program. But I think that in many occasions there is a little bit of new things that we want to try. And so the feeling goes much further. So I think it's really very nice. In Italy, you know, we have a very experienced club, but also very new club. And we have also a couple of clubs that have university students. So it's such a mix that you learn little things from everywhere, and the knowledge becomes so bigger. The communication techniques becomes bigger and bigger. It's really nice.
Fantastic. So the strength is in the mix. It's not an individual ingredient.
Exactly.
The strength is in the mix. Beautiful. I love hearing how you've taken the format and you've made it your own so that it's not just appealing, but it's also enhanced based on the way you do it, the Italian way. Now
Yeah,
we have overshot our time by just a little bit, but I would love to hear you give a wish or a toast for Toastmasters Italy in the future, how you envision the not so distant future for Toastmasters Italy. And we have about 1 minute for all of us to toast to Toastmasters Italy. And now let's start again with Federica.
Yeah, I tell you that what I wish for Italy is also to develop the Italian language in Toastmasters, because we have a lot of clubs that are only English clubs, a lot of clubs that are bilingual but speak a lot of English, which is very, very good because it's an American association. But as Italian, we need to communicate in Italian in our companies, for our work. So I really suggest all the clubs to prepare also Italian speeches. It's very, very important.
Absolutely. I hear you. I share the feeling. Orlando, what is your toast or wish for Toastmasters Italy?
Okay, well, there are many wishes, but I'll make it simple. Just a small statement about the languages that it could be a great leverage. In Turin, I would like to create a French-speaking club. So because I would like to learn it, so it's a great way to do it. And once a guest in my club, in my home club, in my first, the Red Rhetoric came and said, Orlando, could you please create a Latin-speaking club? And I said, are you serious? Yes, I speak Latin. I speak Latin. I write Latin speeches, and I would like to. I said, okay, we need 19 more people like you, and okay, I will create it. But so my wish is that we find a lot of people that share values, because the values are at the core of our message: respect, integrity, service, and excellence, always. And we have fun together. Absolutely.
Yes.
The friendship part, it struck me because that was really actually what does make me do what I do. So it's that's it. So values, fun, and friendship.
And wild goals. We need more wild goals in this life. Diane, what's your vision / wish / toast for
Yes, my vision,
Italy?
my / wish would be the continued growth and consolidation of the current clubs that we have, and that people continue to learn and to benefit from being a part of the Toastmasters clubs in Italy, but also at an international level, because they can really grasp so many opportunities that way. And I can say that even the clubs that we have that are bilingual, the people really put a lot of effort into giving all of the attention that they can to the various languages that they do speak in. So I would say my would be about growth, continuous growth for the individual, also for the clubs to be growing maybe on the Adriatic coast, because we don't have a lot of clubs along the Adriatic coast, and that would be in Puglia, down in the various parts of Italy that we have, and even growing in the islands, because we do have a club in Sicily, I believe, a couple of clubs, and also in Sardinia. I know there was a club that was being formed, or perhaps has already been formed. So I think the continuous growth and taking advantage of being the brotherhood of all the clubs within Italy, and yes, absolutely the fraternity within, and the sorority, the feeling of part of things that everybody can get from being a part of the Italian Toastmasters.
I want to share with you how heartily welcome you've made me feel to the fraternity and sorority tonight. We share the laugh, and this is the best way to share the love. And I can feel the love as we as we see in the chat from Laura, the Latin Lovers Club. Now imagine that as a club name. Imagine that. How popular would that be? And I will be there. I will be there with you. Just sitting next country, I will be there with you to see the growth and be amazed by how much passion can create. And that is your passion for Toastmasters. Thank you so much for today. This was a delight getting to know
Thank
you
you,
and
Panos.
talking to you.
Thank
Alla
you. Take care.
prossima, alla prossima.
Alla prossima, assolutamente. Grazie.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Take care. Thank you so much for
Have a
inviting
nice
us.
evening. Bye.